When you see these protests across our country, you might have wondered to yourself, do these people even want America to win the war? So I asked.
Would you like the U.S. to lose this war?
Oh yeah, down with the U.S. empire.
Remember in this episode when we caught these guys shoveling signs into the vans and exposed that the leader, Layan Fulihan, was getting paid close to $80,000 a year to protest?
I look at their 990 forms and she's being paid close to $80,000 a year to be an educator at the People's Forum.
Well, I'll be exposing the rest of these guys in this video. Welcome back to the Nate Friedman Show. Let's start with her, Ibtihal Malley, who's going to speak at the protest that we're going to. We've seen her many times before. She was at the paid protesters meeting before one of the Washington Square Park protests started.
I've definitely seen your stuff. Can I talk to you for a second?
She didn't want to talk to me then or when she was carrying her big Palestine flag to a protest about Iran. Interestingly, on her LinkedIn, she lists her education, but nothing about her paid role at an NGO called IFCO. You can see on IFCO's 990 forms that they pay their staff, and here's Ibtihal's position, ELAM Scholarship Coordinator. If we look at the details of her role, we see it involves recruiting Americans for free medical training in Cuba while she organizes activism right here at home. IFCO says that for over 40 years, they've been fighting for justice and training organizers, protesters, and administrating grants. These organizations claim to be grassroots as they send people to the People's Forum and pay them to protest. Ibtihal also makes no mention of her leadership position at the PYM, the Palestine Youth Movement, which is funded by the Tides Foundation, which is backed by George Soros. IFCO and PYM are closely related, as we can see Nadia Tenus, who has called for the destruction of America, is a PYM member who is also on the board of IFCO. Now, if we look at the Resistance Until Liberation March from October 2024 in New York City and scroll down through the photos, we see Ibtihal right there in the middle of the action, blending in with the other protesters. And take a look at who else is there. David, Taher, Layan, and Manalo, all people we've exposed on this channel for being paid to protest. It's all calculated chaos. There's over $200,000 a year of paid protesting just in this photo alone. According to the 990 forms at the People's Forum, Manalo dos Santos, executive director of the People's Forum, last reported salary was $71,000 in 2018. In 2024, $0. Still listed as a full-time executive director, zero compensation.
Do you deny that you got $20 million to protest? You don't deny that?
His money still likely coming from Roy Neville Singham has just been taken off the books at the People's Forum, in which he's still the executive director of. Ibtihal is off the books at the People's Forum as well. Back in 2018 at Barnard, Columbia's sister college in which she graduated from, she was actively involved with Students' Justice for Palestine, the same club Mamdani started his chapter for in college. She was arrested inside Hamilton Hall during the Columbia University encampment on April 18, 2024. She was one of the protesters who took over the building and was charged with third-degree criminal trespass. Her name appears on the official list of all 46 individuals arrested inside the hall. She also spoke at the PYM rally for Mahmoud Khalil's release in March 2025. In May 2024, she spoke alongside Rashida Tlaib at the People's Conference for Palestine in Tlaib's district in Detroit. Here's what she had to say.
We have a commitment to strengthening ourselves as organizers and strengthening our movement, especially right here in the belly of the beast. And as the more unified we are, the stronger our movement is, and the bigger threat that we present to the U.S. empire and our complicit institutions.
Sorry to bother you. I just spoke to one of your members that told me to interview you. My name is Nate and I'm an independent journalist, and I was wondering if I can interview you. Obviously, this is a protest that is against the war in Iran. And I went to a protest yesterday that was for, it wasn't a protest, more so a rally from Iranian New Yorkers that were celebrating it. And I'm trying to understand how people feel about it that are at this protest.
Sure. I mean, the U.S. and Israel both have been aggressors in the Middle East for who knows how long. You know, 9/11 is almost certainly an inside job that Israel pushed the U.S. to do to go to war with Iraq. Israel's been carrying out a genocide for years now. You know, rightfully so. I think a lot of people are, one, pretty upset that the U.S. ruling class is deciding to start another war in the Middle East with our tax dollars, the working class's tax dollars, that are used not just for this war in the Middle East, but the Ukraine war, used to fund Jeffrey Epstein and all of his besties and the ruling class to do all their sick shit they want to do to help get more support.
So you're against funding Ukraine?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's a total waste of our tax dollars. And then not only all of that, but all of this war in the Middle East, stuff in Ukraine, it's all a playground for companies like Palantir, Oracle to test out all their technology on the Palestinians, terrorize them, and then they use it back here. I mean, you could look at Minneapolis, like they were using elite, they were violating the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment left and right. The U.S. ruling class is certainly going to try to amp up all that repression. I'm totally against that. So I'm against this aggression internationally. And you're already seeing like the shooting in Austin that's like a caricature of a terrorist attack. Like this guy had a shirt on that said something like property of Allah. And before the shooting happened in Fort Huachuca, or Huachuca, I forget exactly how you say it, there was like a huge spike in Google searches of this guy's name. Like it's obviously a fucking psyop. And the U.S. ruling class is pulling out all the stops because they're getting fucked. They got their teeth knocked out by Iran. Like major U.S. bases were hit. The USS Lincoln was hit. Like they're getting destroyed by Iran.
Are you happy to see that from Iran? Like, would you like the U.S. to lose this war?
Oh yeah, down with the U.S. empire. They've been terrorizing the whole world since, God, where to start? But certainly since World War II, you have Vietnam, you have Korea, you have countless wars and genocides they funded. I hope that the people of America in the world see that the U.S. is not this invulnerable empire, and I hope this really shatters their image. But other things could happen. I mean, the U.S. could put boots on the ground. They're already talking about it. Yeah. They're talking about nukes. A lot of things could happen.
Us being in New York City, we're in the center of the universe, as people call it, and Iran, if they were to send ballistic missiles into the United States, if they were, that it could likely be in some place like New York. Would you almost like be willing to die for that message for U.S. to lose the war? Because if U.S. loses the war, you and I are probably done for, right?
We're
in New York.
I don't want to die, to be clear. I do not. If the U.S. launched nukes, there's a very good chance that other countries would retaliate, and New York City certainly would be a pretty big target. I think if that would happen, if the U.S. launched nukes, I'm probably getting out of New York City. I think anyone that doesn't want to get nuked should. But this sort of thing, I'll certainly like. I guess just a funny question. I don't want to die.
Sure, of course. Yeah. So I think the subject of wanting the U.S. to lose, I think it's probably kind of nuanced, and I was wondering if you could kind of flesh it out more. Like, what does down with the U.S. empire mean? What would that entail exactly?
Yeah, it would mean the U.S. ruling class loses a lot of power internationally. It doesn't have all these military bases across the world that they can leverage to control other governments, the policy they do, further exploit and oppress the people of those countries. In Iraq, there's still the fucking green zone from the Iraq War, which is just like universally understood to be a total joke of a war that killed a ton of Americans, killed millions of Iraqis. Those sorts of things going away, absolutely. The U.S. empire being weakened, absolutely. More social unrest here, more people fed up with the system that's taking their tax dollars away, funding things like the Ukraine war, Epstein, what have you, further trying to remove our rights, which, I'm part of Maoist Communist Union. I want a whole lot more than just what the Constitution says.
Because I think he was a member too. So what does being part of the Maoist Communist Union mean? What does it mean to be a Maoist?
I think the basics is, you see things like this. You see war with Iran. You see the possibility of nuclear war. I think a lot of people see a lot of the horror in the world around them and want something different. What exactly that means, that could take a lot of different forms. But for myself, from historical study and reading about the revolutionary movements all across the world, but especially Russia and China, which sadly now there's no socialist country today, but they've been defeated. But for me, it was discovering a lot more about those countries, figuring out, the issues that we're seeing now are not just because of a small group of people, not just the Epstein class or the Democrats or the Republicans, but this is actually the basic nature of the capitalist system. It's insatiable drive for more capital at the cost of countless human life. And so for me, it was, we need a much larger change and need revolution.
Yeah. And my last question for you is, I know in high school, I could have been a better student, but one of the things I remember was that Mao was responsible for a famine. They told me that. Is that true or it's not true? Because
I'd say no. I mean, okay, let's take a step back. Are we really going to trust the U.S. school system to teach us? It teaches us all sorts
great.
of.
The U.S. school system.
No, it's dog shit. Not great is a nice way of putting it. And so, like, they lie about a lot. And if we understand, okay, China posed an existential threat to the U.S., it's not beyond the U.S. ruling class to lie about it. The key things to keep in mind with the Great Leap Forward is that, one, the numbers are like vastly inflated. A big way that a lot of also, I mean, you look up on Google, it says like 10 to 50 million people were killed or died from famine. Like, that immediately should be like, how is there this much of a margin of error of like 500%? What's going on here? But the key thing was really the regions where there were more serious famine was actually because of people that were later understood to be capitalist eroders, is what they were called. People who, under socialism, actually wanted to drag the country back to capitalism. And Liu Shaoqi, Deng Xiaoping, they were the big ones. And what they really did was advocated for the cadres in those areas to inflate their numbers, lie about them, and even actually where some of the most severe cases of this was where a bumper harvest was, which means like you get more than you thought you would. And then they further inflated the numbers, took more from the peasants, and really hurt those communes.
I think you'd agree that that was one of the crazier interviews that we've ever done. But this whole protest really just started off crazy. Here's what happened as soon as I arrived.
I'm getting deja vu, man. I see you every time here. How you doing?
So much.
You miss me? How you been? Who do you work for?
Work for you. Want to give me a cut of your pay?
Oh, okay. My first question is, can you tell me about your work experience?
So that's Sam Lee. I've seen him at just about every protest that I've gone to in the past year. That's why he said that he missed me.
This might be some here. I mean, I don't deny that.
Yeah. Oh, another person.
I just like, okay.
What are you doing?
Hi.
I'm just interviewing her.
Hi.
Are you stopping my interview?
No.
Oh, you stepped in front of it.
Huh?
How come you stepped there?
Huh?
How come you stepped in front of my interview?
What? What?
Can you speak English?
What?
Can you speak English?
What?
That's a good strategy. Did you discuss it in the People's Forum where you did that?
What?
Sam organizes with the Party for Socialism and Liberation's New York City branch. He appears in the featured photo on Liberation News, which is PSL's official media outlet. This is Sam at a Speak Out protest against Con Edison because he's just as passionate about Con Edison as he is about the Iranian regime. Now, New York City's PSL's official Instagram account follows his personal page. Sam passes out flyers at the same protest that wannabe Hamas jihadists attend. I try to talk to them, but bravery isn't their strong suit.
Hey, what's that headband?
I know who you are. I'm not gonna speak to you. I know who you are.
Who am I?
I know your YouTube channel.
In July of 2024, Sam was in Washington, D.C. for a massive anti-West protest. This is him after getting pepper sprayed by law enforcement. Then back to New York for another day at the office, front and center leading a massive anti-West march. Back again outside Warner Brothers Discovery in Manhattan. No matter the cause, Sam is there. Here he is marching through Midtown Manhattan carrying "We Won't Starve for War" signs printed in English and Korean. And like clockwork, it goes back to being about Cuba and communism. Because just like the outside of the People's Forum doors where they brought signs out of, this is about a billionaire living in China trying to instill socialism in the West. Sam's well-funded enough to attend the 2023 HRC National Dinner in DC with his partner, the same gala where Biden and Jill spoke. It would seem like Sam protests for a living and also does whatever this is. You place a guy that seems friendly like Sam at the outside of the protests, but the messaging at these protests have become more and more Islamic. Look at this flag. It's a flag that reads Ya Hussein, which simply means "O Hussein." Shiite Muslims use it to honor Imam Hussein, the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad. You see these flags everywhere in Iran and in Hezbollah neighborhoods in Lebanon. But in the American pro-Islamic protests, this flag is now being used as a political symbol of support for Iran's axis of resistance, the network of groups including Hezbollah and Hamas. Now, we saw exactly that during Al-Quds Day in Times Square last week.
We support Hezbollah here. Say it loud and say it clear. Say it loud and say it clear. We support Hezbollah here. We support Hezbollah here. Say it loud, say it clear. We support Hamas here. We support Hamas here.
And now this, New York City's Muslim mayor Zohran Mamdani leading a massive prayer in Prospect Park with Allahu Akbar blasting through the loudspeakers.
Allahu Akbar.
The Islamification of New York is happening and these protests are a helpful vessel for it. Next up, I'm going to expose another one of these key protest leaders, and we'll continue to unravel the paid-for chaos happening in this country. I'll also be asking this guy if Iran or the United States is more of a dictatorship. But first, a word from today's sponsor. Inflation is a real problem right now. Gas is up, groceries are up. Your savings are losing value every month. That's just the reality. So what are people actually doing about it? A lot of them are moving toward crypto, specifically inside tax-advantaged accounts. That's where BlockTrust IRA comes in. Their Animus AI platform monitors the crypto market around the clock, identifying trends, and with the most crypto-friendly regulatory environment we've seen in years, the timing is worth paying attention to. BlockTrust IRA is offering everyday Americans that real alternative. Your assets are held in a digital vault backed by a $200 million insurance shield. BlockTrust IRA is offering my audience a funding bonus of up to $2,500 to get started. Go to natecryptoira.com and schedule a consultation. That's natecryptoira.com. And now, back to the video. See this guy speaking? That's James Para. You may have remembered him from the paid protesting circle that Ibtihal was also at, but he was also with Ibtihal shoving freshly printed protest signs into the back of a vehicle in one of my recent videos. Well, this 5th grade teacher at Brooklyn Arbor Elementary School was arrested screaming "resistance is justified" at a Columbia University protest. He then published an article for the Party for Socialism and Liberation's newspaper titled "NYPD, KKK, IDF, they're all the same." His long-term goal was to earn a master's degree in childhood education. James Para spent 8 years working with 10-year-olds at Brooklyn Arbor Elementary School while calling Zionists pigs, sharing Intifada propaganda captioned, "May the children of Gaza dance on the rubble of Zionism." He didn't keep his politics outside the classroom, he did the opposite, and the backlash was immediate. More than 850 parent complaints poured into the New York City Department of Education, resulting in a 10-day suspension. He wrote feel-good education articles while writing Marxist propaganda for the PSL. When he's not teaching, he's protesting with other teachers. Here he is on the front lines of a Workers for Palestine march with PYM. When he isn't teaching, he's moderating a panel for the Answer Coalition at the same event featuring Manolo DeSantos of the People's Forum and Code Pink's co-founder Medea Benjamin, who are just now coming back from Cuba, partying it up with Irish band Kneecap, who got more famous after yelling F Israel at Coachella. Cuba activism is nothing new for these guys. You can see Manolo meeting with the Cuban president. He's been there multiple times, just like David has. They've stood together with Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib pushing to lift sanctions on Cuba. That's how high up this goes. And now you can get both of their Friedman files at natefriedmanshow.com/Friedman files or by scanning the QR code right here. He's been photographed with convicted Cuban intelligence operative Gerardo Hernandez. He's praised Fidel Castro as a third world hero. You can see so much more by checking out the Friedman files. We're uploading one new file a month, and the look of the files will be getting a major upgrade soon and will look a little bit like this. I can't wait for you to see it. Now, if you go on the People's Forum Instagram, almost every protest is scheduled in New York, and you'll see that there hasn't been one since they left for Cuba. You see they had a protest scheduled for March 7th, and then their content switches to be all about Cuba with Manolo and Taher front and center, who, by the way, ran away as soon as he saw me at the protest. So now they're back from Cuba, and I would expect protests to start any day now. Nothing changed with what's happening in Iran, just the money for protesting got spent in Cuba instead.
I am helping to leave a gift and vision of humanidad. This is the mural for humanity, and it's going to have little boats with notes in it of love.
So this is Cuba, and there is no electricity anywhere because there's no oil, there's no energy, and this is what it looks like. Except that hotel, because it's a 5-star hotel. That's it. Everybody else is in the dark.
Here we are on our way to Cuba!
This guy behind me has a PFLP headband. It's a terrorist organization that's killed Americans. I just wonder if I can interview you. My name is Nate Friedman. I have a YouTube channel.
Neil.
No? Okay. The founder of the PFLP. So they've killed Americans in the Tel Aviv airport. They're actually connected to George Soros as well. Anyway, I remember he was asked, the founder of the PFLP was asked, would you like to negotiate with Israel? And he said, negotiate. The only negotiation there is between the sword and the neck with Israel. So that's who he is. I remember you from the. I remember you doing security over the first event. What is this? What does that mean? Are you doing security again? Can I ask if you're doing security again? So this guy was doing security at the protest 7 months ago in Times Square. Kind of weird. I'm just looking to interview one person. People are like not able to talk to me. Would you be down to talk to me?
I don't have that role today, so the speakers are there.
No, but I didn't mean. I just want to get to know your thoughts on the strike last night.
Yeah, that's not my job for the day.
What's your job for the day?
Well, right now I'm on security, so I can't.
What organization are you with?
So who can go? Or one of these members?
What organization are you with?
I can't answer that. Sorry.
When the U.S. wages war, it's all of us that suffer. As James says, it's never the sons of these.
Are you selling these flags?
It's never the sons
Are you selling these flags?
Yeah, but I'm not recording. I have nothing to do with the politics. I'm not a politician.
Okay.
I'm not
Who should have a
involved with
bright future ahead
No,
of
I'm
them.
saying, are you selling these?
My friend,
Instead are being funneled
do
into
the
fighting another
thing you
rich
came
man
here
war.
reporting.
What's that?
You are a
We
reporter,
won't
correct?
allow it.
Yes.
We
So
demand an
you're supposed to
immediate
cover
end to this war.
the event.
Because
I am covering the
And so
event,
to
and you have the flag of the Islamic Republic of
I'm
Iran.
not
is
interested
one
in
life
that.
too
What's
many?
that?
I'm not interested.
And we're not willing for
Okay.
this to
But are you
carry on
selling them? Why do you have so many flags?
We're not willing for this to expand across the region
Okay.
in massive numbers for Palestine over 2 years. We will continue to come out to the streets anytime the United
Nice to
States
see you. No, do your thing.
alive and people in the Middle East.
Now this interview you're about to see is going to shock you, even with this warning. Enjoy.
What brings you out here to this protest today?
Brings me out here to show my to voice my opposition to the new war that we launched 2 days ago. Sorry.
What do you say to those folks who say that, that this will be wrapped up in a month and that it's not really a war? We're just taking out the dictator, taking out some terrorists, and then it'll be over.
It's nonsense. I don't know. It's not. I mean, they could wrap it up and just do it, walk away after they did with Venezuela. They'll make something symbolic, but if they try to take over the country and really overthrow it, it could be years, 20 years again.
Yeah.
So.
Would you be okay if it was wrapped up quickly? Would you change your mind about it, or what would be your thoughts on it if it was wrapped up in a month?
No, absolutely not. It's immoral. It's illegal. Yeah.
And I've gone to many different protests, and I spoke to the folks that were the Iranians in New York that were very happy about it. What is your reaction to the Iranian New Yorkers that were celebrating in the streets?
I think I'm an atheist. I don't like religious theocracies, but whatever the case is, you can going to war to overthrow a government is illegal and immoral. I just see people dying, and I think it's different. I mean, Iran's a little bit different, but like when you have the Venezuelans or the Cubans who are in America, these are the people who were just fascists in their own country when they were there.
Yeah. But I know that they expressed their frustration to me in an interview, saying, "I don't understand why these people are out here when we're Iranians and we're happy." What would you say to them if they were here?
Well, I mean, there's lots of look at the protests in support of the government in Iran today. Yesterday there was millions of people out on the street
in support of
the regime. Of the government. I don't want to use that word regime. It's outrageous. I mean,
why don't you want to use the word regime?
Because it's their government. We don't use the regime for other nations. We only use the word regime for the governments we don't like. And also, I mean, Iran is a democracy of some sort. It's not a dictatorship. I mean, there's a supreme leader that's elected by a council, but it's not. They call it a dictatorship is not true.
I know I've spoken to some protesters that say that we're in a dictatorship, that the United States is a dictatorship. Do you think so?
I mean, it's difficult words. We live in an oligarchy and there's a certain class of people that run policy. We have a system of government that tries to have checks and balances, but through manipulation of the system, 20% of the people in this country said they wanted this war, and yet we're there. So obviously, when a democracy is not functioning.
Do you think that the United States or Iran is more of a dictatorship?
Do I think the United States or Iran is more of a dictatorship? I've never lived in Iran. You know, I mean, it's hard for me to. I can't really say. I've never lived in Iran, so like it's really hard for me to do.
The last question is, I actually visited the location where all these signs are printed, the yellow ones, and it was found that Roy Neville Singham, a billionaire, was given them $20 million. And I was just wondering what your reaction is that these signs were printed by a billionaire that lives in China.
Well, I mean, I support the People's Forum, and I support its coalition with my own money.
Nice.
So that I've printed signs myself. And you always have to have funding from somewhere. I mean, the funding that goes in to all these causes, you used to have some that are completely grassroots. If a billionaire believes in the cause of socialism and a better world, then I'm happy that he's providing funds for that. But there's always funds behind everything. You know, No Kings has their funds, and MAGA movement has their Koch brothers fund, the libertarian movement. So I mean, I don't know what is your.
Thank you for watching this episode of The Nate Friedman Show. If you want a closer look into these guys, the Friedman Files is where to be. The footage you're seeing now is a sneak peek of how all the funding is going to be laid out on the site. It's an honor to do this work, and it's only because of you that I'm able to do it. So thank you again. And if you want a change of environment from this kind of episode and you want to go to Italy, click this episode on your screen, and I'll see you there.